能听到。
Thank you very much.
能听到。
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you for making yourself available to give evidence to the tribunal. And I'm sure you'll understand that what we want to hear from you is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mr. Sabi.
Thank you. Good morning.
是的。
Yes.
You were arrested in June 2001
谢谢。
and were sentenced for 3.5 years for being a Falun Gong practitioner. Is that correct?
对的。
Yes.
You're graduated from university and you have done engineering and you are working in a government entity. Can you tell the tribunal what happened after you were arrested?
是的。好。
Respected chairman and lawyer, counsel. So I was arrested for my work in 2001 June. When I was at work, I was dragged out of my work by 610 office. Because I practice Falun Gong, they asked me to give up my belief, so they arrested me.
When you were taken to the detention center, did they started checking you medically? And if so, what sort of checks they carried out on you?
好的，我告诉你啊，就是当时的时候我。
After I was arrested from my work, I was sent to Changi District Detention Center. So when I was sent there, they checked my whole body, asked me to take off all my clothes, but I didn't want to do that. I did not cooperate because I thought that was humiliation, so I didn't agree to take off my clothes. So they sent me to an isolation cell until late night, about midnight, 2 o'clock. They allowed me to go back to the prison. That cell room was very small. It's over 10 square meters. It's very small. But inside of that cell room, there were about 20 prisoners. So we all sleeping on their side. You can't sleep on your back. It's just like stacking the bricks. Inside that cell, there was also a toilet. When it was in the morning, they asked me and then interrogated me, and then they asked me to give up practicing Falun Gong. I didn't agree. I didn't want to give up because I have improved so much physically and mentally. In the past, I had health problem with my heart. I had illness. So after practicing Falun Gong, all this has been improved and I was healed. So I didn't want to give up. We Chinese have a phrase that if there's one moment of grace, should be paid back with a lifetime. So I really appreciate my pastor. My work was an engineer, but they didn't let me back to my work unit. They couldn't find any sufficient evidence of any crime. So I was detained in this detention center for over 1 year. They tried to find any evidence, tried to sentence me, but they couldn't find any. They didn't have any warrant, any legal proceedings. There was no arrest warrant. There was no certificate So after sentence, I was put in Shanghai Women's Prison. So they asked me, what was your sentence? What was your crime? I said, I didn't commit any crime. I practiced Falun Gong. Because of these words, I was put in a very small cell, eating, sleeping, go to toilet in the same cell. Once I was there, I was not allowed to talk to any people. We cannot greet each other among practitioners. We cannot talk. We were not permitted to go to toilet. And we could only use a little bucket in each cell. Inside the prison, they were drug users, murderers. They were very, very violent to Falun Gong practitioners. They made us to work from every morning about 5 o'clock, wake up until the night. We had to weave the sweater, 2 to 3 sweaters. This is very, very brutal thing. There are many, many people could not accomplish these tasks. Whoever cannot finish the job cannot sleep. They were not allowed to sleep. Even more brutal things, they were deprived of sleep. And they would play video to slander Falun Gong and my master. Sleep was deprived. After watching this video, they force you to say something slanderous. Because I stand by my belief, so I didn't want to cooperate with them. I was detained for 3.5 years. During this time, in first half of 2007, the women's prison notified all the practitioners, Falun Gong practitioners, that they were going to conduct some health check. There were 4 big buses fitted with very advanced equipment. All the windows were covered by the curtains in the bus. So every time there was only one practitioner get onto the bus, so one practitioner would go, one person going to the first bus and then come out and then go to the second bus, and then the second person would go into the first bus. This is a very strange way of doing health check. They do a very comprehensive check, abdominal, internal organs, heart, etc. They tested me. They did this. They also did this ultrasound. They did the speech out. This person, and when the doctor was doing ultrasound on me, he said, "This person isn't going to work. It's a mess." Then call another doctor over, and the prison supervisor. I was laying there and listening to them. So the doctor pressed on my ribs. He asked me, "How do you feel about here?" I say, "I don't feel a thing." They looked at each other. So this kind of checks went on in the hospital for several days. And the policeman said, "Look, it's only you Falun Gong practitioners receive this kind of treatment. We don't even get this kind of health check." And there was one time the police in the prison called me out and said they are going to test my eyes. I said, I don't have any problem with my eyes. Why do you want to test my eyes? And I say, if I want to go home, would you just allow me to go home? And this police didn't have any words to say. So he took me back to the prison gate, and and then we were waiting for the bus. But still, there was no bus coming, and the police said, "All right, just go in." When I was detained there, I didn't know anything about organ harvesting. However, after we did a health check, some of the people stay there, but many practitioners from outside of that area, they went disappear. And then until 2006, organ harvesting was revealed in the news. I recalled my experience of having these two kind of health check. I was very scared because if at that time my organ were alright, my eyes were alright, it might as well be me to be organ harvested. I felt I was a survivor of this organ harvesting. So I want to tell you all this. Organ harvesting indeed exists in China. In addition, 2015, I called a Chinese hospital to inquire about whether they could get organs. I pretended to be someone who need whose relative need organs, and I said, "How long can you get the organs?" They say, "Very quick, as long as you bring your health document." Very fast. And they say Zhejiang University and in Shanghai, they have plenty of stock. They say stock. They had plenty of stock. So at that time, they didn't specifically say Falun Gong practitioners' organs, but they say, you come over now. We can do it very quickly, immediately. So now I recall at that time, after the health check, some people went disappear. And now I think it's very likely that these people are no longer in this world. So even now, there's still something like this happening in China. So I hope this tribunal, council, lawyers, whoever who is concerned about organ harvesting in China, I hope you can do something for Falun Gong practitioners. Do justice, please. This is my experience.
Thank you. The tribunal may have some questions for you now.
Could I ask, please? We often hear the expression from other witnesses, to be sent to Xinjiang. Are you aware of that phrase in Chinese, to be sent to Xinjiang? It seems to have something to do with Xinjiang being a site of organ harvesting.
Yes, I've heard such kind of saying. I didn't hear about this myself, but I heard from other people. There's a practitioner from Finland. She said that she was told that if you don't follow our command, we will make you disappear. Your family won't even know where you are. We will send you far away.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Bao, in your statement, you say that the medical checks started in the first half of 2003. You were sent to prison starting from the 1st of June 2001. between the time of 1st of June 2001 to
6月份，
middle of 2003, were you subjected to any medical examination?
有
Yes. Yes, I have that before. Yes, we were often being checked or tested in the infirmary in the prison. It was all Falun Gong practitioners. Other prisoners didn't receive treatment like this.
Even before 2003, yes?
Yes. But not, yes, but it's only in the infirmary, not in the bus.
Okay, thank you very much for clarifying that. May I also ask you, when and how did you manage to leave China?
哦，是这样，我是判刑3年。
I was sentenced 3.5 years, 2004. At the end of 2004, I went home. It was about 2005, the first half of 2005. Because my son was in Denmark, and I was thinking I was being detained for so many years, didn't see my son. So applied to see my son in Denmark in the first half of 2005. However, they didn't give me my passport. Every time I sent in an application, they refused my application and did not give me the passport. So I went to other departments. Why I was not given the passport? I filed 4 times. I submitted 4 applications. They said because you practice Falun Gong, you don't get passport. So I look for officials, public security, exit entry administration, etc. They all try to, kick balls around, didn't want to answer my question directly. And they say that the exit entries, the exit entry administration say that it's the public security bureau won't give you passport. And I went to the public security bureau. They say, well, the police station said not. Why didn't you allow me to see my family? Don't you have daughters and sons? So the policemen say, well, why don't you think about this? Do we have the authority to do that? Well, it was from the higher level. Other higher authorities didn't allow to give you passport. So I have no other ways to do that. They keep bouncing by this, kicking balls between themselves. But I have recorded all the conversation and recorded their names, and I posted this story to the Falun Gong website. Tell the world. As a citizen of China, how come I was deprived this right to see my family abroad? Why? So I recorded everything and posted everything onto Minghui website. So about 2 weeks later, 610 office sent someone to come to me. They took initiative to find me and said, you want to see your son, right? okay, you can do that. Then they gave me some conditions and they negotiated with me. So if you go out, you need to do such and such. He asked, why do you distribute flyers? I say, we just want to tell people that Falun Gong doesn't commit suicide. We don't burn ourselves. So the self-immolation was fake. So the whole thing was faked and staged. And I told them if that was true and that burning of the hair was not possible, and if a girl's throat were being cut off, how could she still sing in the hospital? How could that be possible? So in China, there's no other way for us to tell the facts. This is the only way we can tell other people the facts, to distribute flyers. This is the only way we can tell people that the self-immolation was fake. So the police heard about this, and they had no words to say. They have no response. And they say, okay, you can go. So I have submitted 4 times. You always rejected me. So this time, what kind of tricks do you have? I said, you have families, you have a daughter, son, and you have parents. It's very normal if you want to see parents. What you are doing is inhumane. They said, okay, you go ahead. And I say, well, I didn't want to go anyway. And the police say, well, you go, please go. So I could hear from the police that, okay, they allowed me to go. So next day I went to the police, and then they did give me passport. So afterwards, I heard from other people saying that they actually wanted me to go, because what you have done to post all these facts to Minghui Net is causing some trouble for them. So they would prefer you to go away. So they would prefer you to keep silent, stop spreading all this information. That was the true reason that they allow me to go abroad. So in August 2007, I left and I went to Denmark. So from 2005 until August 2007, it was about 2.5 years it took. I applied 4 times, and only then I was allowed to go to Denmark.
Thank you, Ms. Bao.
Ms. Bao, I have a couple of questions for you. You recall the situation that when you were undergoing an ultrasound check, a doctor said to his other colleagues that it's a mess, full of stones everywhere. She's useless. Was he referring to your kidneys?
He just said all the organs are not good. They are all useless, full of stones. He was just referring to this part of the body: liver, kidneys.
Liver.
My second question is about your phone investigation. So you were advised to contact Dr. Songin Zhang Yiwu. Did you contact him?
Can you say the name again, please?
We were advised to contact a doctor who was in charge of the transplant center, Dr. Sanjiang Wu. Do you recall that if you contacted him as a follow-up investigation?
最后是没有结果。
At the end, there was no result because I contacted him as a relative of someone who needed a kidney. So the video stopped.
Are there any other questions from the tribunal for Ms. Xuezhen?
Well, yes.
She was giving her answer, and in the
Maybe you
middle
ask
of it.
that question again, please.
My question was that if you contacted to the doctor who was in charge of the transplant center in the hospital in 2015, as you were advised.
Regina, you have a question?
喂，好的，就是我那个电话打过去。
Yeah, after I made a phone call over there, they asked me to go there right away. Afterwards, there was no result. There was no follow-up. There was no outcome on that. Because I just called them to make inquiries. They didn't say anything definitely. The doctor does transplants, and they say if you want to do it faster, you can go to Shanghai or Zhejiang University Hospital. They had plenty of stock. They said stock. So if that's not live organ harvesting, how could there be stock?
Okay, there's one more question. At any time when she was in the labor camps, did she notice or witness anyone under the age of 18 in the labor camps that were Falun Gong members?
Yes. There were many university graduates. I was not labor camp. Oh, no, sorry, no. I didn't see anyone below age of 18 in the Shanghai female prison.
Thank you for joining us again, and I'm sorry that, and I hope that that break didn't cause you inconvenience. But thank you very much for making yourself available to give evidence, which is now concluded.